Hello, crypto heads and drone pilots. So it's now 2024, and we'll kind of go over crypto mining a little bit, the state of crypto mining in 2024. Just a quick overview, nothing too long, hopefully. There are still people mining. Power prices have increased quite a bit, so mining is definitely not quite as attractive. As you know, back in 2018, you couldn't buy a GPU for any reasonable price, but nowadays you can pretty much buy any GPU you want, except for, as far as being price prohibitive, the 4090 is probably the only one that's really not a good ROI, I would say. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, GPUs are okay, but GPU mining is not necessarily the cream de la cream or top choice for mining anymore necessarily. I still have people contacting me from my other motherboard mining videos, and I still talk to a few of them. So, let's just kind of go through what are the motherboard choices. I mean, they obviously haven't changed too much, but as you can see, you have these 8 GPU risers, and for 299, you it's probably not so good a deal. I mean, you can get a lot of these for you know a lot less. 65 here. Just taking a look at eBay. Um, the thing about it though is GPUs have actually gotten wider. So if you're talking about using an RTX board, these actually don't have that much space between them anymore. Um, if you look at them, it seems like there's a lot of space between them, but the two slot, three slot GPUs, if you plan to use an RTX, they actually don't provide as much space as you think. Most people have switched to more of this style of a motherboard, the B250 with these single slot and risers. These tend to be a little more compact. They give you more options, but the issue here is you need a frame to mount your GPUs basically. There's also the ones that use the USB style connectors. This one's another one with a bunch of one times ports, but they're definitely, pretty affordable these days. Taking a look at more of these. Um, so let's see. Someone has one of those ones with the USB slots. And see this one comes with the RAM and CPU for 95, but I mean shipping is a lot, but definitely cheaper than 299. And here we go. So here's one of the ASRock with the PCI. Well, this one actually has the risers. This one's not the USB on board one. Let's keep looking. And there's a bunch of sites: eBay, AliExpress. You probably find some on Amazon. It just depends on where you prefer to order from. Some people prefer eBay. Here's one even comes with a frame where you can mount your GPUs on a bunch of one times connectors, PCIe one times connectors. So I mean, these are kind of the options for motherboards these days. I'm still looking for one that has the USB style connectors. I think this is one of them. Yes. So this one, as you can see, has the USB style connector. Now these are not USB connectors. This is just the USB form factor used to connect to GPUs. So you still need the riser card, the USB riser card. Let's see if we can find one of those. We'll look for one. GPU USB riser card. And so yeah, so it's basically these type of cards. They have the USB style connector at the end, and you could power them using a Molex 6-pin, or you can have this adapter that actually steals power from the SATA. But if you're using a mining power supply, you probably have plenty of Molex 6-pins, and you should be using a mining power supply because there's definitely a lot more options. There's a lot of different qualities of these power supplies, those, and I have found some that have burned before. I mean, the 2400 watt ones, these are built from server PSUs. They're okay as long as these connectors are very good or very tightly on there. Like this one has screw connectors, so it looks good. These I have a few of them too. They work fine. If you have 200 or 240 volt, they definitely work better than standard 120 volt because you're or 120 volt connection, power connection or power plug, you're not going to get 2000 watts. Let's just put it that way. So I mean that's the current state of motherboards. You have the long slots, you have the 1 times PCIe times many, and then you have the USB style connectors. I don't know of any other types of motherboards for mining necessarily. I mean, you could use a regular motherboard. It's not exactly great to use a regular motherboard because they don't have as many connections necessarily, and the chipsets may have issues detecting multiple GPUs with those riser cards. Your mileage may vary, basically. So the next thing we'll look at is CPU mining. So CPU mining, typically everybody's using a random X protocol, and CPU mining coins is actually very common these days. If you use a random X protocol, you could mine on unminable, you could mine Raptoreum, you could mine, I mean, you can mine all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, if you go to hashrate.no, you could look at hashrate.no. You could look at CPU coins. What CPU coins do you want to mine? The epics are obviously very fast. The Ryzen 9 5950X is pretty much the most common CPU mining platform. You have Zephyr, Monero. Monero has a random XMR support for that protocol, I guess. You could still go to NiceHash or unminable, and of course you have Raptoreum. Raptoreum can be mined directly with the Ghostwriter algorithm. And none of these are gonna be extremely profitable unless your power is free from solar or your power is just dirt cheap. And that's just the way it is. But if you go to but when you're mining nowadays, it's not necessarily the instant profit, but maybe you're going for profit in the future. You think a meme coin's going to go up or whatever coin. But yeah, so I mean, if you look at unminable, you can mine tokens and stuff because they just convert it for you. So I have been mining a lot of AVAX. AVAX is a good coin. It's fluctuates between $24 and up to $50. You could mine SHIB if you want to. SHIB is a little more volatile, but AVAX is good for if you want to think long term, maybe. And if you're using GPUs, Zelly Hash is very popular these days. Zellish hash, I should say. That's Zellish coin. And if you look at GPU mining, a lot of the GPUs, a lot of the coins I recommend are Gram or Zealous. It's like, for example, what do you, the most common or most sweet spot for your ROI is probably the 3060 Ti, and the top algorithm is Zealous, so Zealous hash. So if you're gonna mine a coin with GPU, you probably should use Zealous hash. Again, your profitability is not gonna be like 2017, 2018, but you're gonna get something. If you're using an AMD GPU, you can double up with Ironfish, or even an NVIDIA GPU you could double up with Ironfish too. So, I mean, miners such as SRB Miner MULTI, show you SRB Miner MULTI. So these can dual mine Iron Hash and other Fish Hash combined with other coins. It will support pretty much any GPU out there these days. You could even use a Intel Alchemist, although you're not going to get super great hash rates. I've tried combining an ARC with, say, an NVIDIA GPU and an Ubuntu, and I haven't been successful in getting two different architectures to work right. But you can always try. So, but I would recommend if you're going to do, you know, mine with a certain brand or architecture of GPU, you have one miner that does NVIDIA, have one miner that does AMD, have one miner that does Intel. So Intel, you only have ARC right now. That's your only choice. With AMD and NVIDIA, you obviously have different architectures. AMD is a little more, driver wise, is a little more cohesive because it's simpler. With NVIDIA, you have RTX. You have, it says right here, Hopper, love it. You're going to have different types of implementations on CUDA and stuff like that, depending on RTX, GTX, whatever. It's recommended that you even isolate that even more, so that if you have a bunch of 1080s and 1060s and 1070s, you use that on one miner. And then you have an RTX 3060 or 3070, you use that on another miner. And I mean, if you look at coin prices nowadays, you know, Bitcoin has come down. It got up pretty high. It almost hit 70K. Now we're back down to 56. Ethereum, we're still trending between 3 to 4K. USDT is USDT. BNB is actually a lot higher than I've seen in a while. Typically 300, 400 maybe, but it's pretty high. Solana, I don't really keep track of it too much. Doge, you know, Doge will go crazy sometimes and spike really high by, you know, if you see 17 cents per Doge or Dodge or whatever you want to call it, Doge, 16, 17 cents, that's pretty high. I don't track these very much. Avalanche, like I said, 24 to $40, even $50. SHIB, you know, all the way from 3,000 to down to this level, maybe even lower. Litecoin's pretty much been consistent throughout. I mean, Litecoin has hit over three digits before. Polymatic has gone down quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, Monero's still pretty consistent. I mean, at the peak, it was maybe two, maybe even 300. I don't remember. Um, yeah, I mean, so as far as mining coins, you pick a coin you like. You know, you have Raptoreum, which is the CPU. A lot of people mining that for CPU base. CPU mining is easy. CPU mining is low power. You don't have to have a ton of, you know, fans blowing everywhere. You got a nice dual fan CPU cooler. You buy a cheap one. You can mine a few hundred, coins if you got like, you know, a handful of CPUs. You get like a 5900X, good for CPU mining. Find some cheap ones that work, not the not working ones, obviously. Get a Vetru dual fan cooler. It's cheap on eBay, $32. These work great, work fine for mining. Um, yeah, and if you just want a CPU mine without investing in a bunch of GPUs, it's possible to mine, and you won't be, sucking too much power. But you'll have to have more space, since if you want to have more GPUs, obviously you have to have a motherboard and a power supply next to it. So that's the only downside. But yeah, I mean that pretty much sums up, I guess, the state of 2024 miners. Um, I mean, you still have your ASICs, you still have your uh, dedicated mining hardware. Uh, you could buy all kinds of ASICs, you know, let's say Bitcoin ASIC. There's all kinds of ASICs out there. They've gotten actually a lot cheaper than when they first came out, but your hash rate is not necessarily going to be great. You'll need quite a few of them. You could mine dedicate. You could also buy dedicated like ETH hash miners. Uh, these are a lot of these are just a bunch of GPUs stuck in them. Zcash miner. Let's see, Zcash miner. ASIC mining. Depending. The problem with ASIC mining is you have to find a pool. You have to find the right difficulty. If not, you're going to get a very high level of rejects, and that's just the way a lot of ASIC miners work. They'll try to funnel through quite a bit of jobs, hash jobs, but they get a lot of rejects. So you'll maybe get like, I don't know what the percentage rate of acceptance versus rejection is, but it's quite high, the ratio. These are Equihash based. I have Equihash based ASIC miners, but again, I don't use them because GPUs are actually more efficient. If you're talking about like a 300-watt miner, you get more accepts on a GPU than you do on an ASIC. The ASIC may be a little faster, but not necessarily a whole lot faster. Well, yeah, I mean, that's where you end up. Mining is not necessarily a profitable endeavor in 2024, but if you want to keep your coins and you think they're going to go up and your power is free, or you just don't care, you'll pay for the power. You don't care about investing in the hardware, or I mean, you have the money to just do whatever you want, then go. It's still a fun endeavor, but otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say, hey, newbie, get into mining these days. No. But if you've got hardware laying around, you've got enough power doing nothing, hey, mine some coins, right? Go on unmineable, get some AVAX, get some Raptoreum, or go on Nice Hash, and mine some BTC directly or Ethereum directly. And, you could. They even, they still support everything just like unmineable. There's still pools out there, Supernova, whatever other pools, I don't remember. They're still out there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, if you got any feedback or questions, just leave a comment or hit me up on my Facebook page. I still talk to people on there all the time. And yeah, have a good one. We'll see you next time.